Welcome to another episode of the Bitcoin Source. Super excited to have one of my guests on today, Noelyne Sumba. Can we start off by having you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Noelyne Sumba. As you've mentioned, I come from Kenya and I consider myself more or less a Bitcoin advocate. I'm very passionate about Bitcoin and yes, I work with several projects in Bitcoin to enhance Bitcoin adoption in
Yes,
Africa.
yes. Thank you for that introduction, Noelyne. And Noelyne, you've been doing so many different things in the space. I've been watching you very closely, whether it was the Africa Bitcoin Conference or working with the Bitcoin Layer. You've just been doing so many different great things in the space. But what I want to know is like, how did you get started in Bitcoin from your earliest humble beginnings? So whether it was books, courses, or even people in this ecosystem that kind of got you started down your Bitcoin journey.
Initially, I met a person who understood Bitcoin, and they basically introduced me into it. And after a while, I can say that Bitcoin Twitter has been instrumental. Through Twitter, I actually got to meet a lot of people who assisted me in growing. They referred me to books, they referred me to content that I learned. So I will give more credit to Twitter. It's where I got to interact with lots of Bitcoiners, especially in Africa. I got to meet lots of great Bitcoiners through that platform.
Nice, nice. And Kenya is a unique place, and especially when you're looking at women or people of color getting into Bitcoin, it's always, very unique and different to hear different people's perspectives and stories. And I've interviewed some people from Kenya, and everybody's story is always different. And one thing that's great about Kenya is that they're very open to cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and these just digital assets. In 2021, Chain Analysis, they ranked Kenyans as the world's top peer-to-peer crypto traders. So what does Bitcoin mean for people in Kenya, such as yourself?
Hey there, fellow Bitcoin enthusiasts. We just wanted to take a moment to appreciate you for tuning in to the Bitcoin Source, a Bitcoin conversation. Your support means the world to us as we dive into the exciting world of Bitcoin, blockchain, and all things cryptocurrency. If you've been enjoying our content, don't forget to hit that like button. It's like a virtual high five that keeps us motivated. And hey, sharing is caring. If you know someone who'd geek out over Bitcoin as much as we do, hit that share button. Finally, if you want to stay up to date with all our latest episodes and insights, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. You won't want to miss a single update. Thanks for being a part of our community. Keep exploring and remember, the future is decentralized. Now back to the episode.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad you've mentioned its importance to Kenya, and one thing, we are undergoing inflation in the fastest rate ever, and I think one thing that makes it really attractive to Kenyans is the younger population, especially. I can say would be the first to have gotten into it. People looking for avenues in which they could earn from abroad, and one of the ways in which uh, they can facilitate this easily, cryptocurrency and other cryptocurrencies. USDT was one of the main ones, and yeah, besides that, I've mentioned inflation. We are under the mercy of the IMF, unfortunately, and World Bank, and just like other countries, there's a lot of money being pumped into the system. Our currency is devaluing at a very fast rate, and people always go for the harder money. And in this case, it's the USD. And USD is not easily available. And so the next available, most available, was cryptocurrency. And eventually, yeah,
Nice, nice.
Bitcoin.
And I know that there's a lot of other different cryptocurrencies floating around Kenya, and it's probably really difficult to actually meet Bitcoiners in Kenya because there's all these other different cryptos that people are adopting and trying to get a quick buck from or trade with. And it's just beautiful to see people such as yourself kind of still pushing the Bitcoin narrative and helping people in Kenya to actually understand the benefits of this digital asset. So Nolene, women in this space are definitely rare and unique. And yourself and Marcel of Bitcoin Data are really making an impact in the country. I've been watching. What paths are you creating to help more women in Kenya learn about Bitcoin?
Okay, so on my end, I can say I've interacted with Marcel. She's a very good friend of mine. So Bitcoin Dada has to be the major one that is incorporating education of women and in Bitcoin. Um, she's done an amazing job with that. I think the uptick has really been growing, and Bitcoin Dada. We hope to expand. She hopes to expand, hopefully, to the rest of Africa, and besides that, on my end, I usually just do education. I do a couple of physical educations, not so much, but I prefer using maybe Twitter. And currently, now that I'm on YouTube, it's really difficult to get time for meetups because I have also other engagements that I need to cater to. But otherwise, I do provide. Content in Swahili. I am a translator. So through Exonumia, we are carrying out translations. That way, people can have free translated literature, Bitcoin literature, and that way we can be able to reach mostly people from the grassroots.
770 million people across the world don't have access to electricity. And I remember you mentioning gridless and some of the, innovations that Kenyans are doing as far as renewable energy. But what is your take on the Bitcoin mining industry in Kenya and the way that it's changing, how people actually get electricity in the country?
So electricity is not just a problem in Kenya; it's the whole of Africa. And so when it comes to the Bitcoin mining industry, I got to know about gridless more or less around the time of the conference, just before we attended the Africa Bitcoin conference in Ghana, and I was amazed by what they do because I was actually very happy to see the list. We experience power outages a lot, despite the fact that we are very rich in renewable energy, and gridless is coming out. Besides experiencing the shortages, electricity can be quite expensive, especially for the rural areas in Kenya. This is because of the distribution network. So even though the hydros have been set up, they can be quite far from um, the rural areas, and the cost to set it up. Most the company, the electricity company, would would rather forego than distribute it to these places. So with Bitcoin mining and solutions like gridless, you have the mini grids close to where they're needed. They can be set up anywhere, and with this, people in rural areas can be able to access affordable electricity. And I'm excited about what gridless is doing. In fact, at the forefront, really rooting for them because I think we might have actually found a solution that could be beneficial to a lot of areas in Africa that experience power outages. So can't wait to see how that goes too.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what gridless is going to do. And I think that of course, Eastern Africa, they have their own issues as far as power and generators and stuff like that. But like you said, those microgrids and actually utilizing the Bitcoin mining facilities to get Bitcoin, or not even Bitcoin, but just the electricity to these places where they can use Bitcoin as a decentralization process where the grid actually pays for itself through Bitcoin mining. So of course we know in Africa there's tons of opportunities to do renewable energy, whether it's solar, hydro, or wind, but they lack the funding. And Bitcoin mining comes in to create a solution for that by obviously doing proof of work and gaining some Bitcoin so it allows the grid to pay for itself. So, yes, Norlene, I really appreciate you kind of explaining the electricity issues in Kenya on the ground first person. And my last question for you, Nolene, is, and I want to congratulate you. So I see that you recently have become a correspondent for the Bitcoin layer.
Yes, I have. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And, how do you feel your role there will help more people hear about the stories and the thought leaders, talking about Bitcoin in Kenya?
Okay, so I remember when I initially got into the Bitcoin space. Of course, YouTube is very instrumental, and when you go to YouTube, you find the Michael Saylors, of course, Nick Patia, and Peter McCormack. And I was really looking for African Bitcoin content. The most you can get is maybe documentaries and very few, of course, with you Bitcoin source, but stories that are African focused were very few. And I'm glad when Nick Basha reached out and he was like, we should do more stories from Africa. I grabbed the opportunity. And I am looking forward to more content creators coming into the scene because I believe there's a lot of potential. There's lots of stories to be told. I think everybody has a unique Bitcoin journey that they go through. And these stories are important. We are documenting Bitcoin history here, and whoever can come to the forefront and do that for humanity, I think would be fantastic. So I would love to actually see more. I like what I'm doing. I would really love to see more people doing it. So thank you also for being part of this journey we're undertaking.
Yes, you're welcome. And it's my job as a podcaster to really grab the sources of knowledge from people all over the world, just not in America or Canada or Europe. And of course, I have a soft spot for Africans because that's where my heritage comes from. So anytime that I hear people from the continent talking about Bitcoin, I always make sure that I give them a space and an opportunity to actually talk about their journey, talk about their story. So, Noelyne, this conversation has been incredible. I learned so much about your journey, and I'm excited to see what you're going to continue to do in the future. But before we,
Thank you very much.
can you give people your social media handles and any future last words that you want to give the audience?
Okay, so my social media handle is at Noelyne Sumba. I'm mostly on Twitter. You can reach out to me there anytime. But besides that, I would encourage more people to actually come into the Bitcoin space. I keep on saying the work is a lot, but the workers are very few. And there's lots of opportunity. I myself am not a technical person. In fact, when I was getting into it, I was concerned because I noticed there's just developers. But you always find something that you love doing within Bitcoin, and even not just any service you can give, but if you're a merchant, start selling your goods and services in Bitcoin. And I think with that, we can be able to achieve hyper Bitcoinization faster. But so far, so good. I love the Bitcoin community. It's very supportive. I have never experienced such wonderful working conditions ever. I even don't consider it as work. So yes, we just like to encourage more people to join the Bitcoin space in however much they can contribute.
Yes, thank you once again, Noelyne. I appreciate this conversation on the Bitcoin source. Have a good one.
Okay, have a good one. Thank you.